Saigon. In the sweltering final days of April, Minh, a 28-year-old man with neatly cropped hair and his familiar black-rimmed glasses, had just wrapped up another stressful day at his job in a graphic design company. He lived alone in a small apartment in District 3, not too spacious, but comfortable enough for him to unwind after long hours of work. Stepping inside, Minh dropped his briefcase onto the sofa with a soft thud and let out a quiet sigh. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the window, bathing the living room in a golden hue. He walked to the fridge, pulled out a can of soda, and settled into his usual armchair, eyes drifting toward the flat-screen TV perched on its stand. That TV had been with him since his college days, far from the latest model, but still working just fine. Highs, another day over, Minh muttered to himself as he popped the can open. The small click echoed in the stillness of the apartment. He took a long gulp, the sweet, icy taste spreading through him, washing away some of the day's exhaustion. Tonight, he had no plans. Most of his close friends were either married or too caught up with their own work. Evenings like this, he usually spent watching movies, reading books, or simply relaxing after a long day. Switching on the TV, Minh flicked through the channels. He wasn't looking for anything in particular, just some light entertainment to pass the time. Suddenly, an unfamiliar channel appeared. The signal was a bit grainy, the image flickering, but it was still clear enough to make out an old video. What channel is this? Minh frowned in curiosity. He was certain he'd never seen it on his cable system before. The footage began with faded black and white images. An old stone well came into view, dark, deep, and foreboding. Then, a woman appeared, long hair covering her face, wearing a tattered white dress, crawling slowly out of the well's mouth. The camera shook, accompanied by a low, static-filled hum, creating an eerie, unsettling atmosphere. A ghost documentary or something? Minh thought, feeling a slight chill. He was about to change the channel, but something strange kept him watching. Even with her face obscured, the woman's presence radiated an indescribable sorrow and bitterness. The scene shifted to a dimly lit room. An old TV sat on a table, suddenly flickering to life, showing distorted, grotesque images. Then, the woman's face appeared again, clearer this time, though still hidden beneath that curtain of black hair. Only her lifeless, milky white eyes stood out, staring directly into the lens. A shrill, unsettling voice came from the TV within the video. The sound quality was terrible, but Minh could still make out scattered words. 7 days, you will die. Minh shivered. He knew it was probably just some old horror film, but an inexplicable sense of dread settled in. He reached for the remote to turn off the TV, yet hesitated. He wanted to see what would happen next. The footage continued with more disturbing imagery, distorted faces, fragmented scenes of horror, until finally, the screen went completely black. No sound, nothing. Strange, Minh muttered, feeling a cold shiver run down his spine. He was certain he had never seen anything like it before. He switched to other channels, but couldn't focus on anything else. The woman with the obscured face and the haunting voice lingered in his mind. Trying to shake off the unease, Minh decided to take a shower. The warm water soothed him, helping him relax. He told himself it was nothing, just some creepy old film. After finishing, Minh returned to the living room, planning to find a comedy to watch. But as his eyes landed on the TV, he froze. The screen was still black, yet at its center, a faint gray smudge appeared, shaped like a blurry fingerprint. Why is there a fingerprint here? Minh wondered aloud. He clearly remembered wiping the TV screen clean before leaving for work that morning. Moving closer, he tried to wipe it away with his hand, but the smudge didn't budge. It seemed etched deep within the screen itself. The uneasy feeling in Minh's chest surged back with full force. He remembered the chilling voice from the video. 7 days, you will die. Nonsense. Just a coincidence. Minh tried to reassure himself, though his own voice didn't sound convinced. To put the whole thing out of his mind, Minh decided to go out for dinner. He didn't want to be alone in the apartment with that strange TV. Locking the door behind him, he He headed down to the lobby, trying to breathe in the lively night air of Saigon, while enjoying his usual bowl of Boon Ryu at a small sidewalk eatery. The phone in his pocket began to vibrate. A message from an unknown number had arrived. Minh opened it. The content was just a single short line, 7 days. A cold shiver spread through Minh's entire body. The chopstick slipped from his hand. His heart pounded heavily in his chest. He glanced around, the crowd, the traffic noise, but it all felt as if he was trapped in an unsettling silence. "No way, it's just a joke," Minh muttered, trying to keep his composure. He told himself maybe it was a wrong number. But deep down, he couldn't shake the growing fear creeping into his mind. After dinner, Minh couldn't bring himself to go straight home. He wandered aimlessly through the streets of Saigon, searching for some kind of distraction. But no matter where he went, the voice from the video and the strange message echoed endlessly in his head. By the time the clock was nearing midnight, Minh reluctantly returned to his apartment building. His place was pitch dark, the silence almost suffocating. He cautiously unlocked the door and stepped inside. The dim yellow glow of the night lamp wasn't enough to chase away the gloom that blanketed the living room. Minh's eyes flickered toward the TV. The screen was still black, but the faint gray smudge was there, darker now than it had been that afternoon. He quickly switched on the living room light, the brighter glow giving him a small measure of comfort. Heading straight to his bedroom, he tried not to look at the TV again. Lying in bed, Minh tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. The images from the eerie video kept replaying in his mind. He wondered if there truly was some kind of curse following him. What terrible thing might happen 7 days from now? Eventually, exhaustion overcame him and he drifted off in a state of anxiety. But in his dream, the dark, ancient well appeared again. The woman with long black hair and those lifeless white eyes was coming toward him. Her chilling voice echoing in the shadows. 7 days. Minh jerked awake, drenched in cold sweat. He glanced at the clock beside his bed, 3 a.m. The room was still dark and silent, but inside him, an invisible terror was growing. He knew his life might never be the same again. At dawn, Minh got up, stretching. He tried to shake off the fatigue from the restless night. Morning sunlight streamed in through the window, carrying a hint of warmth. He went to the bathroom, washed his face, and stared at his reflection in the mirror, his face drawn. Dark circles under his eyes. He sighed, telling himself it was just stress. Still, when he returned to the living room, he couldn't stop thinking about the TV. The screen was still black, but the gray smudge seemed larger now, spreading like a blotch of ink. He moved closer and touched it. The surface was icy cold, yet bore no physical mark. "That's strange," Minh murmured. He pulled out his phone and checked his messages. The one from the unknown number, 7 days, was still there. Making his heart skip a beat, Minh decided to call back. The phone rang several long tones, but no one answered. He tried again, and again, still nothing. After getting ready, Minh left for work. In the elevator, he scrolled through news on his phone. One headline caught his eye. Mysterious incident at old apartment in Bintan district. Man found dead at home. Cause unknown. Skimming the article, Minh learned the man, named Lam, 35, had been found dead after being missing for 7 days. Strangely, a shattered TV screen was discovered beside his body. There was no concrete evidence, but neighbors speculated his death was connected to a strange video he had watched. A cold chill gripped Minh's spine. 7 days, that phrase again. He tried to convince himself it was just coincidence. Saigon was huge, people died every day. Strange things happened all the time. But deep inside, he couldn't forget the images, the dreams, and the strange occurrences surrounding him. At the office, Minh couldn't concentrate. He sat in front of his computer, but his mind was stuck on the video and the mysterious message. One of his colleagues, a woman named Lee, noticed something was off and walked over to him. "Minh, are you okay? You don't look so well," Lee asked gently. She was a young, energetic woman who had only been at the company for a few months but had already gotten along well with everyone. Startled, Minh looked up and forced a weak smile. I'm fine. Probably just didn't sleep well last night. Lee studied him with concern. You look really pale. Maybe you should take the morning off and go home to rest. No, I'm fine. Min waved her off, though his voice carried a hint of weakness. Lee didn't press further, but she kept an eye on him from a distance. Min lowered his head, trying to focus on his work, but it was pointless. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the image of the woman with long hair covering her face. At lunchtime, Min decided to go out alone. He sat in a small cafe, watching the hurried stream of people on the street. He felt completely detached from the world around him. Everyone else seemed to be living their normal lives, while he was trapped in an invisible fear. What can I do to get out of this? Min wondered. He thought about horror movies, where the main character always tried to break the curse. Maybe he should do the same. Suddenly, he remembered an old friend named Tung, someone very knowledgeable about the supernatural and the occult. Min and Tung had been close in college, but after graduation, they drifted apart. He decided to call him. The phone rang a few times before Tung's warm, familiar voice answered. Hello, Tung here. Who's this? It's Min. Do you remember me? Min asked, a little nervous. Oh wow. Min, it's been ages. What's going on? How have you been? I'm fine. I just have something I need to ask you. Min said hesitantly. What is it? Go ahead, Tung replied, his voice tinged with curiosity. Min took a deep breath and told Tung everything, the strange video, the gray smudge on his TV, the cryptic text message, and the news article he had just read. He described everything in detail, leaving nothing out. When he finished, Tung was silent for a long moment. Min, I don't want to scare you, but this doesn't sound simple. What do you mean? Min asked, his voice trembling. That video you saw, it could be a curse. Tung explained. In Japan, there's a legend about a ghost named Sadako, who died in a well. Her curse was passed on through a videotape. Anyone who watched it would die in 7 days. I know. I thought about that too. Min admitted, feeling dizzy. Do you remember the images in the video? You saw that woman crawling out of a well, didn't you? Yes, Min whispered. That's a sign of the curse. Tung continued. In the legend, to break the curse, the viewer has to copy the tape and show it to someone else. Copy it and make someone else watch? Min repeated, a faint glimmer of hope in his voice. That's right. That way, the curse passes on to them. But, I'm not sure it would work in your case. So, I have to find a way to copy the video. Min said, but I don't know where it is. It just appeared on some strange TV channel. That's a problem, Tung said gravely. Without the original, you can't copy it. Min sank back into despair. So that means, I'm going to die? No, not necessarily. There might be another way. Min, do you remember anything else from the video? A well, a dark room? Yes, and there was also a gray smudge on the TV screen. Min said. Tung paused. That smudge, it could be a clue. Maybe it's Sadako's way of connecting with you. So what do I do? I have 6 days left. Min asked urgently. Calm down. Don't panic. Tung reassured him. For now, try to remember every single detail you saw in that video. Even the smallest thing. I'll do some research on the legend. We'll figure out a way to deal with this. Min hung up, feeling just a little lighter. At least now, he wasn't facing this alone. But the fear was still there, lingering like a shadow in his chest. He glanced at his phone. The message, 7 days, still sat on the screen. An unerasable reminder. That night, Min returned to his apartment. The chill down his spine came back every time his eyes landed on the TV. The gray smudge had spread wider, now taking up a significant portion of the screen. He decided not to turn it on again, leaving it there like some lifeless piece of furniture. But deep down, he knew it was anything but lifeless. Sitting at his desk, Min pulled out a notebook and pen. He tried to recall everything he had seen in that strange video, the old well, the woman with long black hair, the dark room, the static hiss. He began sketching each image in detail. The more he drew, the more vividly those images came back to him, sharp and unsettling. That night, Min had another dream, but this time, it wasn't just eerie, it was terrifying. He found himself standing before an old TV, The screen flickered to life, revealing the image of a woman. She began crawling out of the screen, her long black hair hanging down, covering most of her face. Her eyes, milky white and lifeless, locked on him. She said nothing, only inched closer and closer. Minh tried to run, but his legs were frozen. He could only stand there, helpless. As she came nearer and nearer, Minh jolted awake, screaming. His entire body was drenched in sweat. The room was still dark and silent. Clutching his chest, he felt his heart pounding as if it would burst. He knew his time was running out, and maybe the curse had already begun. The next morning, Minh woke with a heavy feeling in his chest. In the bathroom mirror, his reflection looked pitiful, dark circles now deeper, fear plain in his eyes. He splashed cold water on his face, trying to wash away the exhaustion and dread, but it clung to him like a second skin. When he stepped into the living room, his eyes immediately fell on the TV. The gray smudge had now spread across nearly an entire corner of the screen, forming a warped, grotesque shape. A cold shiver ran through him. There was no logical explanation for it. His phone vibrated. It was Tung. Minh answered quickly, his voice tense. "Hello, Tung? Minh, did you sleep at all last night?" Tung's voice was filled with concern. "No, I dreamed about her again. She crawled out of the TV, coming straight toward me," Minh said, his voice trembling. Tung was silent for a moment. "Minh, I have bad news. I did more digging into the Sadako legend. In some versions, the curse isn't limited to watching the video. It can also spread through a haunted object. In your case, I think it might be the TV." "So, my TV is really haunted?" Minh asked, his heart racing. "It's possible. And that gray smudge you see, I think it's the curse, growing." Tung explained, "It's spreading, and when it covers the entire screen, the curse might be complete." Minh swallowed hard. He looked back at the TV. The smudge looked like a blotchy stain, but it carried an unnatural, oppressive presence. "So what do I do now? I can't just throw the TV away. What if the curse is already attached to me?" "I've thought about that too," Tung said thoughtfully. "Getting rid of it might make things worse. I think you should find out where the TV came from." "Where did you get it? When did you buy it?" "I bought it 3 years ago from a used electronics shop on Nguyen Tri Street," Minh replied. "I remember the seller said it was imported from Japan." "Japan? Then maybe its connection to Sadako isn't a coincidence," Tung said. "Minh, I think you should go to that shop and ask the seller about the TV's origins. Who knows? We might find a clue to break the curse." Minh took a deep breath. He knew he didn't have any other choice. "All right, I'll go there right after work." After ending the call, Minh went to the office, but his mind was completely blank. He tried to focus on his assigned tasks, but everything was hazy. He couldn't concentrate at all. All he wanted was for the day to end so he could carry out his plan. That afternoon, after work, Minh went straight to the used electronics shop on Nguyen Tri Street. The road was packed, lined with hundreds of shops pressed close together. It took him quite a while to find the place, a small, worn-out store tucked away in an alley. Behind the counter sat a man in his 60s, with white hair and reading glasses, quietly reading a newspaper. Minh vaguely remembered him as the shop owner. Minh stepped inside and asked softly, "Hello, sir, do you remember me? 3 years ago, I bought a flat-screen TV from you." The man looked up, studied Minh for a moment, then nodded. "Ah, I remember now. The one imported from Japan, right? Young man, what brings you here today?" "Yes, that's the one. I want to ask about its origin. Where did it come from?" Minh's voice carried urgency. The man folded his newspaper and looked at Minh with a serious expression. "That TV, it has a long story. A friend of mine in Japan sent it to me. He's an antique collector. He said the TV was connected to a strange case in Japan. A young woman died mysteriously, and they found that TV at the scene." Minh's heart skipped a beat. "Was that the woman who died in a well?" The man looked surprised. "How do you know that?" "My friend told me the same thing. He said the TV might have recorded the woman's final moments. But because it was too strange, he sent it to me in Vietnam to sell." "Do you know anything else about her?" Minh asked. his tone urgent. "No, that's all I know," the man replied. "But I do have something that might help you." He reached under the counter and pulled out a small, worn wooden box. Opening it, he revealed an old VHS tape. "This is the tape my friend sent along with the TV." He said it contained strange footage, but he never dared to watch it. "He warned me not to watch it either." Minh stared at the tape, his heartbeat pounding in his chest. He knew this was the clue he had been searching for. "Could I borrow this tape?" Minh asked. "Of course," the man said, handing it to him. "But I warn you, don't watch it alone. And be careful." As Minh took the tape, an icy chill seeped into his palm. He bowed in thanks and quickly left the shop. A glimmer of hope rose inside him, but so did an even greater sense of dread. On the way home, Minh called Tung and told him everything he had discovered. Tung was silent for a long while. "Minh, this is an important breakthrough. That tape might be the key to everything. But you must not watch it alone. I'm coming to your place right now." When Minh returned to his apartment, his heart was a mix of anxiety and anticipation. He placed the tape on the table, staring at it with apprehension. The old, dusty cassette seemed to hide a terrifying secret. Not long after, Tung arrived, his eyes locked on the tape, his expression grave. "Here it is. This might be the key to freeing you." "So what do we do?" Minh asked, his voice heavy with worry. "We need an old VHS player. Luckily, I still have one at home. I'll bring it here. But before we do anything, we have to understand exactly what's on this tape. We can't take any reckless risks." "But I don't have much time left," Minh said, glancing at the TV. The gray smudge had spread even more, looking like a wound slowly rotting away. "We'll figure something out. Just stay calm," Tung reassured him. "I'll go grab the VHS player and come right back. Don't do anything until I return. Just wait for me." Tung left, leaving Minh alone with the old videotape and the TV that was slowly being consumed by the curse. Minh sank into the sofa, eyes locked on the cassette. It felt like sitting next to a ticking time bomb. He knew his time was running short, and he was facing the greatest fear of his life. After Tung left, Minh sat alone in the apartment, a heavy feeling pressing down on him. He kept glancing between the old tape on the table and the blotchy gray stain spreading across the TV screen. Everything in the room felt strange and menacing. It was as if an invisible force was closing in around him. Minh decided to make himself a cup of coffee. He wanted to stay alert, not let fear take control of his mind. While waiting for the water to boil, he checked his phone again. The message, 7 days, was still there, and he realized today was already the 3rd day. He had less than 4 days left. The phone rang suddenly, an unknown number flashing on the screen. Minh's heart pounded. He took a deep breath and answered. "Hello, who is this?" Minh asked, his voice tense. "It's me, Lam's wife," came a choked, tearful woman's voice on the other end. Minh froze. "Lam's wife? Why are you calling me? I don't know how I even got your number. But I went through my husband's phone records. He tried calling you several times before he died. Do you know what happened to him?" Minh was silent. He didn't know how to respond. He didn't want to drag anyone else into this, but he couldn't bring himself to lie. "Did he tell you about a videotape? About a curse?" the woman asked, her voice filled with desperation. "Yes, he did," Minh said hesitantly. "He told me he watched a strange tape, and he said that anyone who watched it would die in 7 days. The woman sobbed. "My husband too. He told me the same thing. But I didn't believe him. I thought he was just stressed. And now he's gone." "Did you see the tape yourself?" Minh asked, hope flickering in his voice. "Yes. He left it on the table. And he wrote a note. It had just one line. 'Give this to Minh,' she replied. He said you were the only one who could fix this." A shiver ran through Minh. He realized he had been pulled into this far deeper than he thought. He wasn't just a victim, he'd somehow been chosen to end it. "Can I see the tape?" Minh asked. "Yes, come to my house. I'll be waiting," the woman said, then gave him her address. Minh hung up, his mind spinning. He didn't know why Lam had placed such trust in him. He didn't even know if this tape was the key to saving himself. But he knew he couldn't waste any more time. He had to go. Just then, Tung returned, carrying an old VHS player in his hands. Min, I've got it. Now we can watch the tape. Tung, something happened, Min said, then told Tung about the phone call from Lam's wife. Tung frowned. So he tried to pass the curse on to you, but it looks like he didn't succeed. He left another tape behind, and a note that said, "Give this to Min." Min replied. Tung was silent for a moment. That means the curse isn't limited to a single tape. It can be passed through an object, and that tape might be the key that opens the door to the curse. Min, I don't think we should go to Lam's house. We don't know what's on that tape. But what if it's the only clue we have? I'm running out of time. Min said, we'll deal with the tape you already have first. Maybe it'll give us the answers we need. Tung said firmly. Trust me. Min looked at Tung, then at the tape on the table. He knew Tung was right. They couldn't take more risks. He nodded in agreement. Tung slid the tape into the VHS player and connected it to Min's TV. Min stared at the screen, his heart pounding. The gray smudge had grown larger, looking like a grotesque, blotchy stain. Tung pressed play. The TV screen lit up, not with the familiar images, but with an old, flickering, distorted video. It began with the image of an old well. Then came a woman with long hair covering her face, dressed in a worn white dress. She slowly crawled out of the well, her lifeless white eyes staring directly into the camera. Min instinctively stepped back. He had seen these exact images in his dreams. This wasn't just a movie anymore, it was real. The video then shifted to other images. But this time, they weren't horrifying scenes. It showed an old room filled with paintings of a young woman. She had long, black hair and deep, dark eyes. Her face was beautiful, but carried a profound sadness. Tung hit pause, freezing the girl's image on the screen. Min, who is this? Have you seen her in your dreams? No, Min answered. I've only seen the woman with the white eyes. Tung pressed play again. The video continued with more old footage, this time accompanied by a faint, trembling male voice. I found this tape, and I watched it. I know it's a curse, but I don't know what to do. I can't give it to someone else. I can't do that. All I can do is try to break it. Min and Tung exchanged glances. They understood that the man in the recording was the friend of the electronics shop owner, someone who had tried to break the curse but failed. The footage changed again, showing another room. A woman with long black hair sat in front of a TV, sketching a picture, the very image of the old well from the video. Min, look at this, Tung said. This could be the clue. This girl might be Sadako. But why is she drawing the well? And why does she look so sad? Min asked. Maybe the curse isn't something she wanted. Tung replied. Maybe she's a victim too, a victim of her own powers. The video suddenly ended. The TV screen went pitch black, leaving only the blotchy gray smear. Min and Tung exchanged tense, uneasy glances. They knew they had found an important clue, but they also knew the curse was still there, and Min's time was running out. Finally, Tung looked at Min and said, I think we've misunderstood Sadako. She's not a demon out to kill people. She's a trapped spirit, and her curse, maybe it's actually a cry for help. Min and Tung stared at the black TV screen. The strange gray stain seemed to have spread even further, as if the curse was eavesdropping on their conversation. Tung broke the silence first. So now we have a new theory, he said thoughtfully. Sadako isn't just a malevolent spirit. She was a woman with strong psychic abilities, imprisoned and killed in suffering. Her curse might be her way of seeking release, a way to tell the truth that no one believed. And that TV, it might be the only doorway. Min took a deep breath. Then, the friend of the electronics shop owner. He tried to decode this curse. What did he see in the tape that made him stop? Maybe he was too afraid. Or maybe he went down the wrong path. Tung replied. From his recording, it's clear he didn't want to pass the curse on to someone else. That shows he was a good man. But maybe he just didn't have the strength to face it. Min glanced at the TV, worry in his eyes. So what do we do? I have less than 4 days left. Tung's eyes shifted to the old VHS tape. We have to watch it again. Frame by frame, she drew a picture of the well. But that doesn't mean she wanted to trap people. She's hinting at something. Maybe it's a clue. They replayed the tape, this time with total focus, examining every tiny detail. Tung pulled out a notebook and pen, jotting down any image he thought was important. The old well, the sketch of the well the girl had drawn, the room she was sitting in. Then Min noticed something small on the drawing. Tung, look at this. What is it? He pointed at a tiny, unclear dot on the picture of the well. Tung followed his finger. Could be a number? Or some kind of symbol? They rewound and replayed the segment, trying to zoom in, but the video quality was too poor to make it out. I think we're on the right track. She's definitely leaving a message, Tung said. After a moment of silence, Tung continued, Min, we've both watched this tape now. If the curse was simply from watching it, then I'd be cursed too. But I'm still fine. So what does that mean? Min asked, his eyes wide. I think the curse isn't just about watching the tape. It might be triggered by something else, maybe your TV. It's like a haunted object, a doorway for the curse to spread. Then, Min began, a new idea forming. If the TV is a doorway, maybe we can close it? Possibly. But how do we close it? Tung asked, clearly intrigued by the thought. We have to find out who this woman is. Who is she? How did she die? And why was she trapped in that well? Min said, a spark of hope rising in his voice. They decided to search online. Min typed in keywords like mysterious case Japan, girl dead in well, psychic abilities. Countless articles and forum posts appeared, but none connected directly to their story. Then Tung suddenly recalled something from Min's earlier account. Min, do you remember the electronics shop owner saying his friend was an antique collector? Maybe he wasn't Japanese, just someone with connections to Japan. Min nodded. That's right. And do you remember Lam left you another tape? Tung added. Maybe that tape has some kind of message on it. Min stayed silent for a moment. He had refused to go to Lam's home out of fear. But now, with a glimmer of hope, he knew he had to. He couldn't just sit and wait for death. I'm going to Lam's place, Min said firmly. I had to get that tape. It could be the only lead left. But you had to be careful, Tung warned, his face tense. Don't watch it alone. I know, Min replied. I'll call you as soon as I have it. Tung nodded. I'll stay here and keep digging for more information. If anything happens, you tell me right away. Min quickly left the apartment, riding his motorbike to the address Lam's wife had given him. It was an old apartment building tucked away in a narrow alley in Bintan district. The whole complex seemed shrouded in a gloomy, cold atmosphere. He rang the doorbell. A worn-out woman with puffy, red eyes opened the door. It was Lam's wife. You're Min, right? She asked tiredly. Min nodded. Yes. She invited Min inside. The small, run-down apartment smelled damp and musty. On the table sat an old VHS tape beside a folded piece of paper. This is the tape my husband left, she said, pointing to it. And this is the note he wrote. Min picked up the note. The handwriting was shaky and messy. Find the well, in room 304, old apartment. Min and Tung had been right. Lam had left a clue. But this clue was leading them somewhere else, to another place. Another room, and another well. Room 304, old apartment. Min murmured. He suddenly recalled an important detail. This old apartment where Lam had lived, yes. It was an old building. But it wasn't the only old apartment in Saigon. He looked at Lam's wife and asked, do you know which old apartment building your husband went to? Or did he ever tell you about a specific place? The woman shook her head. No, I don't know. He only said he had to find something. He told me that if he couldn't, then both of us would die. Min took the tape and the note, bowed in thanks, and quickly left. He knew he couldn't waste any more time. He had to find the well in room 304 inches of the old apartment. And he knew this was going to be a dangerous journey, one he might have to face alone. Riding his motorbike at full speed back to his apartment, Min gripped the tape and the note tightly, his chest swelling with both hope and dread. He knew he couldn't risk going alone, so he immediately called Tung. Tung, I've got the tape, and a note with a clue, Min said urgently. Read it to me, Tung replied, his tone just as tense. Min read the note aloud. Find the well, in room 304, old apartment. Tung was silent for a moment. So Lam tried to leave us a lead. But, old apartment, there are so many in Saigon. We have to figure out which one. If the curse is real, and Lam was trying to break it, then this clue must be real too. Min said. Agreed, Tung replied. I think we should start searching online with keywords like old apartment Bin Tan district and old apartment mysterious case. Min shook his head. No, Lam lived in Bin Tan, but he might have gone somewhere else. Saigon has countless old apartment buildings. There might be a name we haven't thought of yet. Tung suddenly remembered something. Min, remember what the electronics shop owner said? That TV was connected to a strange case in Japan, and it was sent here from Japan. Maybe this old apartment also has some kind of link to Japan. What do you mean? Min asked. I'm not sure, but maybe it has a special name, or it's a place where the Japanese community used to live. Tung explained. Let's search with those keywords. Min and Tung began searching online. They typed in phrases like, old apartment Japanese residence, old apartment in Saigon with a well, haunted apartments in Saigon. Dozens of results popped up, but none were a perfect match. Suddenly, Tung exclaimed, Min, I found it. A paranormal forum talks about an old apartment building in District 10. It has a special name, Tokyo Apartments. It was built before 1975, and there's an old well in the middle of the courtyard. People say a Japanese woman died in that well, and residents often hear a girl crying at night. Min's heart skipped a beat. Then, that's where we need to go. But it's dangerous. We can't go alone, Tung said, his voice full of concern. I know, but I don't have any other choice. Min said, I'm already caught in this spiral. I have to find the answers, not just for me, but for Lam and for that girl too. Tung was silent for a moment. All right, I'll go with you, but we have to be careful. Very careful. They agreed to meet at a cafe near the Tokyo Apartments. When Min arrived, Tung was already waiting. He looked tense, but his eyes were still full of determination. Are you ready? Tung asked. I'm ready, Min replied, his voice low. Together, they walked to the Tokyo Apartments. It was an old, moss-covered building. The fading afternoon sunlight filtered through broken window frames, casting a gloomy, cold atmosphere. They stepped into the courtyard. In the center stood an ancient stone well. The water inside was pitch black, impossibly deep. Min felt a chill run down his spine. This is it, this is the well from the tape, Min whispered. Then now we have to find room 304, Tung said. They climbed the stairs together. The apartments were old, their wooden doors rotting and covered in dust. They reached the third floor and found room 304. The door was locked. We don't have a key, Min said, disappointment in his voice. That's fine, we can break it, Tung replied, but we have to be quick. I have a bad feeling. Tung pulled out a small pair of pliers and carefully worked the lock. Click, the sound of the lock snapping echoed through the silent building. He pushed the door open, and a wave of damp, stale air hit them. The room was empty, no furniture. Nothing, except for an old TV sitting on the floor and a painting of a woman with long black hair. It was the same painting they had seen in the tape. Min and Tung approached the TV. The screen flickered on, but showed no image, just a pale gray, blotchy smear. That gray mark, it's just like the one on my TV, Min said. Exactly, and it's growing, Tung replied, his tone grim. Suddenly, a shrill, chilling voice came from the TV. You have arrived? Min and Tung froze, stepping back, their eyes locked on the screen. The TV abruptly went pitch black. And then, an image appeared. It was the image of a young woman. She had long black hair and deep, dark eyes. She was sitting on the edge of a well, her expression full of sorrow. She didn't speak, she just stared straight into the screen, as if she were looking directly at Min and Tung. Who is that? Min asked. Sadako, that's Sadako, Tung whispered. The painting of the girl sitting by the well had become clearer. Tung noticed a small mark on the rim of the well. It wasn't a number, it was a letter. Tung, I think I found an important clue, Min said, pointing at the painting. Tung followed his gaze and realized it too. That letter wasn't ordinary, it was an ancient Japanese character. We have to decode it. It could be the key to freeing her. Tung said firmly. And also the way to save ourselves. Suddenly, the TV began to shake violently. The gray stain on the screen spread rapidly, covering the entire display. The static grew louder, and another image appeared. It was the woman with the long black hair and the white, lifeless eyes. She slowly crawled out of the screen, her ghostly eyes fixed directly on Min and Tung as if she were preparing to consume them. The two men stepped back, panic rising in their chests. They knew their time was running out. They had to act immediately if they wanted to break this curse. The static from the old TV in room 304 grew louder and louder, drowning out even the pounding of their hearts. Sadako's figure, with her long hair hiding most of her face and those blank white eyes, became clearer by the second. She was crawling out of the screen now, one pale hand gripping the edge of the TV frame. That symbol. Tung, what is it? Min shouted, his voice shaking with fear. He pointed at the mark in the painting Sadako had drawn, forcing himself to stay calm enough to recall it. Tung, terrified but still trying to focus, stared at the symbol again. It's not a letter, it's a word. An ancient Japanese word. It means door. Door? So she wants us to find another door? Min asked, his mind spinning. No, I think it's the opposite. Tung replied. She doesn't want us to find another door. She wants us to close this one. This TV is the door for the curse to escape, and also the door for her to find release. Sadako's hand was now fully out of the screen, her icy cold fingers gripping the TV frame. They were thin, long, and deathly white. Tung quickly pulled out his phone and snapped a picture of the painting and the symbol. We have to find a way to close this door. But how? Min asked, his voice trembling. We have to understand what Sadako wants. Tung said. She wants us to find the truth and help her be freed. Maybe we need to talk to her. Talk to her? Min asked, the idea sounding insane to him. Yes, she's been leaving us clues. She doesn't want to hurt us, she just wants our help. Tung said, let's try. Tung stared directly at the TV, where Sadako was slowly crawling out. Sadako, we don't want to hurt you. We want to help you. Tell us, what do you want us to do? The TV kept hissing, and Sadako kept crawling forward. She didn't speak, only stared straight at Tung with those white, lifeless eyes. Her hand touched the floor, and the room grew even colder. Sadako, tell us, how did you die? Why are you trapped here? Tung pressed on, his voice trembling but still determined. Suddenly, the static stopped. Sadako froze. She looked at Min, then at Tung. A new image appeared on the screen, of a young woman with long black hair and deep black eyes, standing before a well. I was pushed into the well, because I had power. They said I was a demon, they feared me. Sadako's voice came from the TV, no longer shrill and chilling, but filled with sorrow and despair. They called me a demon? I just wanted to live. I just wanted to be loved, but they pushed me into the well, they said. Let me die here. Let my curse die here. Min and Tung exchanged glances. They understood now. Sadako wasn't a demon. She was a young woman who had been wronged, imprisoned in a world where no one believed her. So what do you want us to do? Min asked, his voice heavy with empathy. Sadako looked straight at Min, her eyes no longer white and vacant, but black and filled with sadness. Find me someone who believes me, someone who isn't afraid of me, and show them the tape, so I can tell them the truth. You want us to give the tape to someone else? Min asked, a wave of fear rising in him. But wouldn't that pass the curse on to them? No, it's not a curse. Sadako said desperately. It's just a way for me to speak to them, to let them know I'm not a demon, so I can find peace. Min and Tung understood. The curse wasn't about killing people. It was Sadako's way of reaching out for compassion. What do we do? Min asked. We need to find someone who believes Sadako. Tung said, someone without fear, and we have to show them the tape. But who? Who would believe us? Who would believe a crazy story like this? Min asked. I think we know someone. Tung said, locking eyes with Min, the only person who believed Lam's wife. Lam's wife? Min repeated. She's lost her husband. Will she have enough faith to face this? She's the only one who believed him. Tung said, he left the tape for you. And a message. He wanted you to give it to someone who trusted him. That person is his wife. Minh took a deep breath. He knew this was a hard choice. He knew that if they got it wrong, all three of them, himself, Tung, and Lam's wife, could be in danger. But he also knew he had no other choice. All right, we'll do it, Minh said firmly. Minh and Tung quickly left room 304. Sadako was no longer crawling out of the screen. The TV was pitch black. And the gray stain was gone. They had managed to speak to her, and now they had a new path forward. They went straight to Lam's wife's home. She was still sitting on the sofa, her face pale and exhausted. Ma'am, there's something we need to tell you, Minh said, his voice lowering. Do you believe that Sadako is not a demon? The woman looked at Minh, suspicion in her eyes. What do you mean? Minh told the whole story, about the videotape, the haunted TV, the curse, and their conversation with Sadako in room 304. The woman listened intently. She didn't interrupt, just sat silently and absorbed every word. When Minh finished, she stayed quiet for a moment. I believe you, she said at last, her voice heavy with sorrow. I believed Lam. He told me about Sadako. He said she was just a young girl who had been wronged. He tried to help her. And I believed him. So, will you watch this tape? Minh asked, holding it out to her. Sadako wants you to see it. She wants you to believe her. And she wants you to help her find peace. The woman looked at the tape, then back at Minh and Tung. She took a deep breath and reached for it. I'll watch it, she said, for Lam, and for Sadako. Minh and Tung exchanged a look, their hearts full of tension and anticipation. They knew this was a gamble, but also their last chance to free Sadako and save themselves. The woman slid the tape into the old VCR. The TV flickered to life, showing the same distorted, flickering images. She sat there alone, watching Sadako's tape. Minh and Tung waited outside the door. They didn't know what would happen. They didn't know if they had chosen the right path. But they knew they had done everything they could. A while later, the woman stepped out of the room. Her face no longer looked gaunt and weary, it was calm. Even relieved. I've seen it, she said in a steady voice. I spoke with Sadako. She told me she's at peace now. And she thanked us. Minh and Tung looked at each other. They had succeeded. The curse was broken. The three of them went together to Minh's apartment. On Minh's TV, the gray stain was gone. Everything had returned to normal. Minh looked at the TV. He knew it was no longer a cursed object. It was now a keepsake. A reminder of a strange story. One about empathy and trust. Minh and Tung shared a look of quiet relief. They had done it. They had saved Sadako. And they had saved themselves. The next day, Minh's life returned to its usual rhythm. He went to work, met with friends, but deep down, he knew everything had changed. The TV was now nothing more than an ordinary, lifeless object, yet every time he looked at it, he remembered Sadako, the curse, and those terrifying days. That evening, Minh met up with Tung for coffee. They sat in a small cafe on a quiet street corner. Under the warm glow of yellow lights, Minh felt as if he had just woken from a long nightmare. I still can't believe everything that happened, Minh said, taking a sip of his coffee. Tung smiled. You did it. You saved Sadako. And you saved yourself. But I still have one question. Minh said, why did Lam leave the message and the tape for me? Why did he trust me so much? Maybe he saw something in you. Tung replied. He saw someone with courage, someone unafraid. He knew only you could help Sadako. Minh stayed silent. He didn't know if he was truly brave. He only knew he couldn't let an innocent woman suffer. What about the tape at Lam's house? And the TV in room 304? Minh asked. I went back there, Tung said. The tape at Lam's house was just a blank old tape. He left it as a vehicle to lead you to Sadako. And the TV in room 304, it's back to normal. The curse has been broken. Minh let out a long breath of relief. It felt as though a huge weight had been lifted from his shoulders. I still can't believe a story like this could be real, Minh said. There are many mysteries in this world we can't explain, Tung replied. And maybe, we were chosen to be part of one of them. They sat there, talking about everything that had happened. They were no longer just friends. They were now two people who had faced and survived a great trial together. A few days later, Min received a phone call from Lam's wife. She called to thank him. She said she felt at peace now. She told him she believed what Lam had said all along. "Thank you. You helped my husband find peace," she said, her voice filled with emotion. Min didn't know what to say. He simply replied, "It's nothing. I only did what needed to be done." Life went on for Min, but he knew a part of him had changed forever. He was no longer just a man living alone, focused only on work. He had learned how to face fear, how to believe in the unexplainable, and how to trust in human kindness. Min still lived in the same apartment. The TV was still there. One night, as he was watching a program, he caught a fleeting image, a girl with long black hair and deep black eyes, smiling at him. It lasted only a split second, but Min knew it was Sadako. She had found peace, but she was still there, a silent thank you.